What up, world? This is the GoalNet recording live here from outside Chicago. Just finished my Bauer Hyperlite gold pad video and jumping right back in to the glove and the blocker. The glove's a treat. Just gonna get that out there right now. Glove's a treat. Haven't used it on ice yet, so can't really say if it's good or it's bad. Need to do the proper review, but holy shit was I impressed when I got that thing out of the bag. So we'll get that out of the way first, and then we will go to the blocker. And if you're a big glove guy, just scroll ahead about 5 minutes in the YouTube video and you can get to the glove. I'm actually a big blocker guy, so let's not sleep on the blocker. So I want to start with the palm and the overall glove on the blocker. I will do a separate video comparing this to 2X Pro and Ultrasonic. But one of the key things I want to mention is I actually found the glove on the 2X Pro to be too big. I've never really had an issue with standard senior glove sizes. I'm about 6'2" for reference. I don't have giant hands, but by no means have tiny hands either. So where I'm going with this, I never need the intermediate palm option or anything like that. But I did find the blocker palm in 2X Pro was almost uncomfortably big. And I ended up actually having it re-palmed with a standard senior palm. They fixed that with Hyperlite. They've gone with a smaller glove. And one of the other cool things they did is this showed up in the Ultrasonic first, and it is glove technology that they borrowed from their player gloves. So one of the benefits Bauer has is, they're probably the most popular player glove in the NHL. They do a ton of research on palm and materials and constructions. The goalie team got sharp, called over their buddies in the player glove department. They collaborated and came up with a way better palm design. So one of the key things I mentioned is that Connect Palm, which we'll zoom in on a bit, which is the black material. So if we're checking out the video, we've got the cream palm, and then the black material on the thumb there and on the fingertips is actually like a neoprene material. So the palm where you hold the stick is soft and feels like a traditional glove, very supple, but then the rest of that black material like form fits and wraps around your hand. And because it is a performance fabric, it also stretches, it breathes. Your hand's probably gonna sweat less than this. And I can comfortably say some of this stuff too, because it's very similar technology to what was in the Ultrasonic. So really excited to see that as well as the new fit show up in the Hyperlite blocker. So zooming in on that, you can see this black material there, and there's almost kind of a sheen or a gloss, and it's here too on the thumb. This is all of this flexible, soft material. I'm talking about the stretches with you. And then there's also actually pour on. You can kind of see the stitching segments right there. There's actually a little pour on in the back of the fingers. There you go. Camera finally kind of caught up. It looks like a nylon there. There's actually pour on in there. And then adjustable finger padding as well. And then anybody who follows me in some of my Brian's reviews, or I mentioned this, CC about the tight fit, knows I love the huge pad behind the blocker board. So you can see blocker is extremely comfortable between the stretchy neoprene there, the adjustability of the fingers, and then the blocker palm. It is really a snug, secure, comfortable fit. And then you can see as well, there's a huge pillow pad right here on the blocker thumb. And then there's actually some padding right in there as well on the thumb. So getting thumb injuries is something I don't think anybody necessarily has to be worried about with this blocker. And in typical Bauer fashion, the sidewall is the stiffest in the industry. You literally cannot flex. So it gives a little bit this way, to be clear. So if you're playing the puck or worried about mobility, it gives a little bit that way. But in terms of, the way the puck is going to hit you going this way, Hyperlite sidewall doesn't move. So really stiff, rigid design right there. And then one of the other things too that's different about Hyperlite compared to Supreme is we have this ultra thin, lightweight tapered board. And that's also very consistent to match the overall Vapor family because the Vapor pad is very thinned out as well compared to traditional or Supreme. And as you can see, it's tapered basically in every direction. So if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about taper, it's wider there and narrower there. So there's basically a series of angles every which way around the blocker where they've gotten rid of excess material. So you can see there's a taper down at the toe. out on the side and then in the top. So that is kind of the biggest new feature I'm excited about on this blocker, is that new palm. If we want to talk about other things, the cuff has been updated, so it's still the Hyperlite material here, but it is an asymmetrical design, which means it's not one uniform shape, which means it's designed to be anatomical with the way your body moves. So I'm pretty comfortable saying that is the most comfortable blocker I've ever tried on in my life. And I'm actually really surprised to say that after ultrasonic, because I thought that was the most comfortable and kind of figured Hyperlite might be basically the same. But whatever subtle tweaks they've made with the glove, or maybe it's the fact that I think Hyperlite's probably a little bit lighter, that it just feels a bit more natural on the hand. Just a first impression is that that is the most comfortable blocker I've ever tried on. And then one of the key pieces that you cannot see on the blocker in the review, but is the core. So of course the blocker is going to have Bauer's curved composite material, and Bauer really started the discussion in terms of technology about hard rebounds off the blocker. The things are hot. They actually updated the core of the blocker this year, and it matches the same material that's actually inside the 2X Vapor goalie pad. And the name of that core technology is the Rebound Boost Core. So very cool to see that even though Bauer was already leading the industry really in hot rebounds, they didn't really rest on their laurels and they went after something hotter. So I think it makes a ton of sense as well. Like if you're engineering something that's giving you a hot rebound off the pad, why not try it in the blocker as well? So very curious to see how that compares to the 2X and the ultrasonic, because I think Bauer truly is a step in front of everybody right now in terms of blocker rebounds. So the fact that it could be better is extremely intriguing to me. So can't wait to get that out on the ice. Perfect, pretty concise. 15-minute video, got that done in about 7. So let's dive into the star of this show, and that is the Hyperlite glove. So the Vapor family is the 60-degree glove break, been that way with the 1X, the 2X Pro, and now the Hyperlite. 2X Pro was a huge jump forward for Bauer because that was their first ever game-ready break that was actually very good and soft. When I'm saying soft, I mean flexible in a good way, off the shelf. The 1S glove and the 1X glove, the 2S, and then the other lines for Odin, they didn't really have a great game ready. So 2X fixed that. But one of the things I found with 2X a bit after using it is that the glove kind of lost its shape. And Bauer's really made some subtle improvements that you may not even ever notice looking at the glove, which makes me really optimistic to try this and hope that this holds its shape more so over time than the 2X did. All right, so if you notice the center of the palm of this glove, you may see a couple creases, and we will see the traditional red assembly lacing around the fingertips and through this thumb. But one thing we do not see is any lacing directly in the center of the palm. And if you've never really, dove in too deeply and tried to figure out like what's going on with glove construction, just to try and give you a quick explanation, there's either usually one row of this stitching here, so this heavy red lace material. There's either usually one line there or one toward the fingertips and one toward the thumb. So those are the two different kind of standard construction techniques around glove closure. And the reason for that is to kind of hold the padding in place because there's all sorts of materials that we can't see inside here. So we put a lace there, holds it in place. And then it also allows you to put a little bit less material in the center of the glove for the closure. I don't actually know how Bauer did it, so I'd love to tell you, but I don't have that to include in the video. But you can see they got rid of all of the lacing inside the glove, and the game ready on this is absolutely phenomenal. So it just closes really beautifully for a 60 degree glove. And one of the things with the 2X where I say it lost its shape over time is that I believe had the dual stitching in it, or even if it had the single, it was kind of a dual hinge. When I say dual hinge, it means you could kind of break the glove in where you could stretch the fingers over the thumb, or you could kind of break them in back away from the thumb. So you can see this glove doesn't really move. I will get into that more when I do the comparison video between ultrasonic and Hyperlite. If you need some instant gratification, check out my ultrasonic review because that glove still has the double hinge style brake and you can see how it moves. So in summary, Bauer somehow changed the lacing in the palm and they somehow stopped it from being a double brake glove. So they changed the internals, and what's that given us is a really flexible game ready brake. And it also feels really strong. Just trying this glove on, I don't feel like I'm gonna be susceptible to stingers at all. But again, this is not a review deep dive, so gotta get out on the ice to check that out. And just wanting to see how the brake is, you can see it is absolutely phenomenal. The T squish is nice and tight. Puck absolutely could not squeeze through that. And this has been tried on 2-3 times out of the box. As you can see, that is an absolutely phenomenal game ready brake. So unfortunately, the piece of the glove that I am most excited to show you was the brake and the way the glove feels. Unfortunately, that's not something in a video that comes across as clearly as showing like a glove tee or a pocket lacing or anything like that, but take my word for it. Phenomenal feel with the game ready glove. And I feel like Bauer's really dialed in the construction of their 60-degree brake. So I cannot wait to get this thing out on the ice and test it out. So that's really what you're going to kind of see and feel that's new is the way the palm is done and the way it flexes. Some of the other things that's changed is that Bauer has added more curve. So curve is like a carbon fiber style material. It's a composite. And then Poron is a high density energy absorbing foam. They've tweaked up the glove internals as well. So they removed the lacing and added more curve and Poron to make it more protective as well. One of the things I took advantage of in the customizers that you can actually order extra Poron in the fingertip area or in the thumb. I went with extra Poron inside the palm. So you saw how great the glove closure was. And that's also with a slightly beefed up padding. So this is the game ready brake. It's not the Pro Palm. Game ready brake plus the extra Poron in the palm. As you can see from the video, I think that's going to be a killer combo, but we will have to find out. A couple notes while we're talking about custom specs. I mentioned I added padding to the palm. I also went with a single T that is new this year, being that the double T is standard. Single T was standard on the 2X. This year, Hyperlite's a double T, so single T is custom. And then as well, the skate lace in the pocket is custom. Normally you'll get the nylon rope lacing inside the pocket. So one of the other things too as well, if we look at the material, you can kind of see running vertically there, those white stitch lines. And the thumb area has the printed graphics versus basically the wrist, the fingertips, and the brake area do not. What's different there is that the thumb area is going to be Bauer's Core-Tech material, which is the same, which is on the blocker, which is the same, which is on the pads, which is the printing technology. And when it comes to the pad, it's the high sliding material. But what's different is they wanted something a little bit that flexes better. And that is the Catch-Lite material, which is in the center of the palm. And as we can see, kind of zooming in, it's going to look more like a traditional Gen Pro material, or it's actually got a little bit of like a leather graining on it versus the printed material. The Core-Tech is a like perfectly smooth material. It does still have some graining on it. You can see it there at the very edge of the cuff, but not so much so as the fingertips. So Bauer's really dialed in using the materials. And I believe that the catch grip here is as well probably the most I've ever seen Bauer use on one of their gloves. So really cool innovation there. And then in terms of standard vapor technology, but yeah, so in terms of vapor technology, it's got the 8-way free flex backhand as well, with curved composite in there as well to give the goaltender extra protection. So that'll be pretty similar to the 2X Pro. And then lastly, it's got the catch grip material inside. And as you can see, that catch grip is like a gray Nash material with a textured grip pattern on it as well. So it feels very comfortable on the hand and then gives the goaltender grip. A little hard to see in the video, but that actually runs into as well the part of the backhand that the goaltender's palm actually touches. So 2X Pro, carryover technology is the backhand, the 60-degree shape. But what's new for Hyperlite is the construction of the palm with the curve and the Poron. the reduction of the lacing and the significantly improved closure. And also I think will hold the shape